Good evening, model railroaders, and welcome back to the second section podcast where it's just regular folks talking about model railroading. I'm your host, Andy Dorsch, and joining me this evening with the first-rate production value that we've come to know and love here at second section is my co-host, Mike Ostertag. Mike, how you doing this evening?
I'm going to go back in time. I'm going to find Ben Franklin.
Back in time.
I'm going to find Ben Franklin. I'm going to cut the string on that kite.
None of this would happen then, Mike, if we didn't discover electricity, right?
And I would be far less stressed.
Oh, so Mike, why don't you let the section crew in on the secret?
So as you see, my microphone here, right? My fancy dancy microphone. Okay, so I listened back to a couple of the shows, and I'm like, God, my audio sounds terrible. And I've been having it plugged into the same spot, and I'm just like, I check it every show, and I'm like, oh, it must be this one. Never dawned on me that it wasn't even recognizing this mic. So I've been talking into this mic, and the microphone on the camera is what is actually been picking up all the audio. So here I'm sitting here going, this sounds really bad. And so for like last 15 minutes,
we've been doing a bit of fumbling about.
Yeah, it's been a lesson in futility up until I got an idea of. So I have a second camera over here, and I unplugged it and plugged my microphone where that was, and lo and behold, what do you know? It works. So it's if I'm a little louder than you know, I'm talking in a very low tone. If I'm a little louder than you're used to, please let us know, because we can adjust the volume and stuff like that. But it's
Mike loud.
Mike loud.
You sound good.
Yeah, Mike
good.
Loud. Yeah, it's that's never been said before, I don't think. But it's so electronics and me we've had a love-hate relationship the last several days, actually. So I've been trying to. I need a weekend away, is what I need.
From electronics.
From electronics, yeah. It sounds everything. Like just riding on my riding lawnmower doing leaves sounds like a good time. So
that doesn't sound like a good time at all. So Luke Robinson says Andy is louder than Mike. So I'm gonna just turn my gain down just a bit. We're gonna do some stuff here on the fly. So Luke, hopefully that sounds a little better for you. So Mike and I are leveled out. So let us know. Keep letting us know in the comments how we're sounding this evening. So I gotta say, weather's starting to get a little cooler.
It's crisp.
It's getting crisp. Well, it's getting a little crisp. The
leaves are last week. Last week was like May or June last week. Holy crap! It was incredible. It was gorgeous.
Yeah, it's incredible. And so it's time us this time of year is what all of us model railroaders are looking forward to, right? It's time to get back to the basement.
Yeah, it is. It's some of us never really stop. The basement takes on different functions over the course of the year, actually. So at least now it's time to stop storing stuff and start cleaning things and getting the layout running and built.
Yeah,
I've been doing a lot of stuff on that. We'll go. I'm sure we'll cover that. You've been doing a ton of stuff.
Yes.
So,
yes.
It's been fun. I'm like super psyched for the way this winter is going to go so far.
Yeah, me too. And like, so to let the section crew in on a little secret, I did have a feverish pace of layout development and construction over the course of the last month.
I'd say.
Yeah. The Winnebago Land NMRA division came knocking at my door and said, "Hey, would you like to open up your layout um, for our layout tours for our fall division meet. And I'm like, and this was back in maybe the summertime. And of course, um, it's just like, yeah, sure, of course, not knowing that it would cause a flurry of activity in getting the layout ready. And I'm telling you, if you want motivation, if, if even if you don't belong to the NMRA, that's you want motivation to get some movement on your layout, invite people over to your house.
Yep. I was
And
just
oh
gonna
my
say the
God.
same thing.
So I mean, I gotta share, like, just look at this. I used to have a full head of hair.
Yeah, last week.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then I prepared for the NMRA meet and gone.
Yeah, gone. See?
Yeah, gone. But no,
Yeah.
so it's we got the fictitious ore dock in place. That's just gonna be a placeholder for now. We built the ore yard. We put fascia all around the layout. Got the lights set up. And I tell you, it's been a lot of work, but I'm really excited because now the layout's in a really cool state. I had my buddy Jason come down and he helped operate. We was running trains on the layout while the NMRA tour was going on, and we got to do a little shakedown session on moving ore trains back and forth from the mine to the dock. Seemed to work pretty good. My son Henry was just running interference trains, and it seems like it was really a good little event that inspired me to really get back to finishing the scene behind me here and really getting into the modeling mood.
I don't think that scene will ever be done.
This
You're
scene,
always you're always gonna find something new you want to do to that scene.
yeah. So the next thing is we're gonna add back in here is gonna be some jack pine.
Ooh.
Yeah, like a grove of dying jack pine and balsam fir trees that, and I've I if you guys follow us on Patreon, I'm actually showing the section crew dispatchers how I'm actually putting those scenes together using natural items that you might find in your garden, stuff like that.
Ooh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah. And yeah, so again, for those who want to get the inside scoop on how to do that, you can check out the Patreon feed. We're putting those there. So, all right, gang. So that kind of sets the stage for tonight's discussion. We got a really good show tonight. We're going to be our topic of discussion and hand wringing will be about getting back in the modeling mood after taking a hiatus, be it a short hiatus of a couple of weeks, because when you were doing track joiners, your little mini screwdriver went into your finger and just had to walk away from the layout for a little bit, right?
Nothing bad would ever be said if that happened.
Yeah, no swear words or nothing. Or
Nope.
if you're just coming back to the hobby after maybe a longer a radical sabbatical of maybe even some years. So we're going to talk about those topics. Mike, we're doing short line of the show tonight, right?
Yes, we are. Yeah, we are. Yeah, we are. And yeah, we'll get into that a little later. So yeah, we are.
Yes, I think it's from the land of enchantment, right? That's the state of New Mexico.
Yeah. Yeah, it's enchanting, all right. Yep.
And then
if you like brown.
And I do. Right? I mean, right? Everyone
tan or whatever color you want to call it.
Yeah. There you go. The radical sabbatical from Tim Moran. So speaking of Tim and the folks in the section crew this evening, we got 101 folks here. So I appreciate you all coming to view us this evening and hang out with Mike and I. If you guys have questions, make sure you throw them up in the chat. about the topics that we're going to be covering today, and and I'll get them up there, and we'll get them asked. But again, if you wanna do something fun, smash that like button. It's fun to do, and it's super free, and gives us a little boost in terms of support. So thank you, section crew, for being here. So let's get started. Let's get started and talk about getting back into the hobby, and let's say we're getting back into the hobby after a short hiatus, maybe a few weeks or a month,
Okay.
and you just lost the motivation to get going,
It just
and
was
poof,
kaput. Summer.
gone.
Summer. There's a lot of
Summer
activity.
happened,
Summer happened, and now
and
it's time to get back into it.
it's time to get back into it.
Yeah.
So, Mike, what advice would you? Because I have my own little list of things here, but what are some of the things that you would do to get back into the swing of things, so to speak, if you've just kind of abandoned the railroad for a little bit?
Well, I'll tell you what I did do.
Yeah.
How's that? Instead of what I would have done, I'll tell you exactly what I did do.
All right.
I walked downstairs, walked in by the train room area, and I stood there for 20 minutes and
Really?
just looked around and said, "My God, this is a disaster.
Mm.
Where do I go from here? What do I want to do next? How do I want this to look? What do I want my room to look like? How am I ever going to get this crap picked up into a point where it's acceptable to have people come over, because this is just embarrassingly messy?" So I just sat there for 20 minutes and I looked around at it, and I'm sitting here going, well, standing here isn't going to get anything done. That's number one. So let's start with cleaning this place, or starting to clean.
Boom.
And it sounds counterproductive. And if you looked at my room, you'd swear I didn't do a damn thing, but it's about half of what I had in there. And I don't know how many boxes with a Menards bag that had one pack of screws in it that was sitting on the floor that I found. And so, and then there's me like, oh, these Menards bags are kind of heavy duty. These are good garbage bags for down here. So
Yes.
I'll hold on to that. So you break down the box, you get rid of the box, but yet now you got a pile of bags. So eventually, it's subtraction.
Addition by subtraction, is that?
Sort of, yeah. I'd
Yeah.
say addition by subtraction. But then along the way, I'd find something I totally forgot that I had even bought, and I'd be sitting here going, "Wait a minute, I bought this from a show 2 years ago, I bought this." And I'm like, "What what in the hell am I doing here?" So then that brought me to another thing, and I have it written down here, is my needs versus wants.
Oh, so so yeah, go ahead.
No,
We'll start unpacking.
So what I mean by that is as many of you know, I have my Farland Terminal Railroad and my layout, and what it is it's a crappy little short line. It's nothing major. It's not a super railroad. It's not anything that has Amtrak or passenger trains, or it doesn't run. It runs 1 to 4 cars at a time and
Sure.
services 3 customers ish. So it's one of those deals where now I'm like looking at this stuff going, why did I buy 7 of these? I don't need 7 of these. I need 2. But maybe I can do something a little different with these other ones. Or maybe I can find. So I started getting into doing the internet thing, looking at freight cars and doing stuff like that, trying to justify what I have before I either buy something more different, something new, or sell off something.
Ah, okay.
So
Okay.
I will say this much. Luke Lemons helped me. Well, he helped me, but didn't help me. when we were in Chicagoland, because I ended up picking up 3 40-foot double-door boxcars from Des Plaines Hobbies that I didn't even know they had. He had 3 of them sitting there in S scale. Obviously, I'm not going to pick up HO scales ones for my layout. But and then I started looking at them. I'm like, the ends are all wrong for anything I'd want to do on this. Like literally, the dreadnought ends are wrong, and I'm like, okay, how could I do? All of a sudden, here comes a flurry of photographs from Luke. Here, you could do this. Here, you could do this. Here, you could do this. You could do this. And I'm sitting here going, couple of those look kind of cool.
Yeah.
So now I've got it in my mind that I'm going to do some. One of the things I'm going to do with them is I'm going to do a couple of little internet projects with them where I do so very similar to what Boomer has done. And definitely not going to be on his level, but I mean, it's definitely similar to where the process is what I'm going to explain, how I'm going through what I'm doing. And with any kind of luck, it'll turn out. If it does, it does. If it doesn't, well, it's a learning experience and you just go on to the next thing. But layout wise, I'm on section, what did I get? Section 6, I think I put up the other day.
Yeah. Yes.
And we could talk about that in a little bit. I have my page pulled up and stuff like that.
Yeah,
so we could look at that later.
So cleaning, I think that is a fantastic way
taking an inventory of your stuff.
Yes, even like going through and just kind of pulling the railroad or pulling the freight cars off the shelf, looking at them, and kind of just physically being in the space, surrounded by the trains can be inspiring. It can be, very inspiring just to get going again. And
it's very daunting also at the same time, overwhelming. Yeah. You and I've had that conversation where it's been, I've told you, I am so overwhelmed with what's going on. I want to hop off and just go away. And I think that's okay. That's perfectly okay to do too. It's okay to take a step back and recharge and, get back.
Right.
Because otherwise you get, I don't want to say analysis paralysis, but you just get bogged down in not getting anything accomplished with the constant cleaning,
So, yeah. So I think it, doing some cleaning is good, right?
Yeah.
But I also, I'm going to add a point to this. I think it's, okay to, you get some cleaning done. You might find some models that you haven't, you might,
or a lot of them.
Yeah, you may have dumped on the layout and forgot about, but then all of a sudden you pick it up. Like I found, I had a Rinse Relics C&W section house kit. It's really? A beautiful, structure from Rinse Relics, not sponsored, by the way.
Right.
And I found it and I'm like, boy, I want to build this. And it's not a very big building. It's a small kit, but man, just getting the momentum going by building a small little kit.
Yeah.
And I think, doing some cleaning is good. We've seen William Sampson from Sue the Milwaukee Road, one of his videos.
Yeah.
Where he talks about cleaning and organizing, when you get back into it, because I'll be honest with you, sometimes my layout just turns into a junk pile. I'll come down into the basement and I'll have like a magazine in my hand. I throw it on the layout. Yep. And then all of a sudden stuff starts piling up. And before you know it, I can't run trains because my main line's blocked. And, and even my wife, she comes down here and she'll throw something, on the layout, and it's like a cottage cheese container or something like that. Because she's like, I think you want this, for doing whatever. But cleaning and organizing, and then just starting small with a little kit. And like I'm getting back into, after the big hot messy construction barrage, just making a few little trees and kind of just
Oh,
getting back into it. Because I
gotta
need
happy
tons and
trees.
tons. I got to make happy little trees for the
Happy
layout.
little trees.
So, just getting back into it, doing small projects, not trying to bite off anything, too big, and getting the juices, going again.
Now, see, you have on your layout, you've got a hell of a project ahead of you. And I know that that's going to be one of many, many messages back and forth between the two of us when you decide to actually start working on that ore dock. That
Yes.
is going to be a project and a half, because I'm actually excited to see that, because I'll be interested to see the direction you take that. If you decide to go like in a poured foundation, be excited to find out if it's going to be like poured foundations versus the wooden foundations versus what type of deck you're going to put on, how you're going to do. I can't wait to see how you decide to do that. And I know that's a long ways away, but you can't tell me that every time you turn that corner, you don't have you look at that and say, God, that's going to
I,
be like this. It's going to be, oh, this is going to be so cool. And then you go back around, I'll work on that later. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah. No, so that's going to be one of the next, well, it's the next section in this room, right?
Right.
For those who know my layout, the studio, is just in the aisle of my layout, basically. And the other side of this peninsula that we're on is where the ore dock's going to be. And I think, yeah, getting to that, so like if I were to come down now at my stage of modeling, I couldn't handle it. I think I would just get burned out immediately after trying it. I think I got to build my chops back up and kind of get into the swing of things before I try and tackle a big project like that. I really do.
Yeah. Big projects are, they takes a lot of planning.
Yeah.
It takes a lot of planning, because actually, like a project like that ore dock, I would think that you really need to engineer that almost like they would in real life, right? I mean, it really has to be structurally correct for it to function and to work. I mean, there are kits out there and stuff like that, but if you're going for a certain look, the kit might only be a portion. You might be able to use a part of it, but other parts of it you might want to build by scratch, and that's where you can get some really good inspiration by and motivation to get the project done by uh you know looking at photographs, going on little drives up to Michigan and
Hmm.
or Duluth, heading up that way to go and see the docks themselves and see the different types, before you decide on something. So, but that's all those type of things. Now that would be something that I would think you would want to do in the summer when it's kind of nice out, so you can get out and actually enjoy looking at the things and then bring that information back home for when you decide to get back in the basement the next time. You know what I mean?
So that's interesting that like a railroad tangent activities, right?
Yeah.
So having, it's not model railroad tangent activities, right? So it's not actually working on the layout, but it's, let's say we flip on Paul Scott August's YouTube channel,
Yep.
and we watch one of his videos, on the C&W Mondovi line, or we go over by Split Rock and view one of his, or Boomer, or the Otter Creek, and his channel, and get a little inspiration, have them kind of help you along as well, and then pick up a book, go outside, stand trackside. Granted, it's not basement per se, but boy, there's been a lot of times I've stood trackside and be like, well, got to get down in the basement because I got to make these, these cattails look
It,
exactly like that.
yeah,
What I saw out on the real world.
yeah, and even with what I do for a living, being a locomotive engineer, I'll sit there at work and my conductor's walking up or something like that, doing a brake test. I'll be sitting there looking, I'll be like, those joint bars that's kind of a neat little idea. I wonder if I could do that with, that'd be good. That's
Right.
good. That's good to know that I could do something, or you see small little details in like the yard or along the main line or along this branch line or whatever.
Yeah.
And you just kind of put them back in the back of your brain bank, and you want to revisit them at a later date. But it's just one of those things where I think you can draw inspiration to get motivated from almost anything.
Hmm.
Um, you might not even be thinking about your model railroad and then get stopped by a train, or just be out to dinner one day, and the next thing you know, get done eating dinner, you walk outside, and all you hear miles away from you is a train horn.
Mm-hmm.
Any of those little, what do they call those? Uh, like their mental stimuli, I think it is, to be able to get what? What?
Nothing. We're getting into it now.
But I mean, anything that triggers the your
No, right.
mind to start, "Oh, I should, you know what? When I get home, I'm gonna go downstairs
Mhm.
and take a look at stuff." And it might be subconscious. You might not even realize that that is what triggered the thought process to go and do that, you know? Um, it could be like you said, it could be just as simple as just walking down the steps, and throwing something on the layout. And then when you go back to pick that up, you're like, "Oh, this is kind of neat. This is, so
It's in another kind of thing to get the juices going after a short hiatus is even just talking with a friend. Um,
mhm.
or like Jason, when Jason was over and he was helping run trains, right? And we're talking, really getting into some of the details around the track work and all the the how this is going to work, and we should probably put up siding in here so that we can have some passing action and those types of things. And it's just like, yes, 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 yeah, like, just let's get going, let's do this. And I think even just having that interaction, or like when you're talking with Luke, right?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden he busts out your wallet,
Yeah,
and
that was real nice. It was between him and Matt Gadinsky, both of those guys.
yeah,
They didn't help because I was only gonna buy one, and Luke goes, "You need all three, you know that, right?" I'm like,
yeah,
Shut up,"
for
and
sure.
so I'm like, "Oh, just give me all three,"
And
you know?
and and then one of the other things I think is, if you have a layout and it's operational, run a train.
Yeah.
Just just run a train. I think that's one of the I think someone in the section crew this evening mentioned it, like, okay, I'm just going to go downstairs. We're going to pull out the old SD45. We're going to do a few laps, going to do some rail fanning, not going to move it, going just get in there and just start going.
Get your old
Mm.
reliable locomotive and car set up that never
Mhm.
derails, and get it out there and do a break. Even after 2 or 3 weeks, the weather can do things to a layout that you would be that, humidity changes or temperature changes can render turnouts or pieces of track that worked flawless for a long, long time. uh, they can be rendered problem children all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So now you have, oh, wait a minute, I maybe I need to do something about, starting to look at things to help keep the room conditioned so that the atmosphere in the room doesn't change as drastically. So it's there's that's one great thing about the hobby, and one monumental like thing that is just gets in your head every single time you turn around is the fact that as soon as you think there isn't another door to open, there's another door to open. Not just one, like 30 of them, you know.
Right.
And then of course they all close behind you and you can't figure out which one to open to go back to where you were in the first place. So it's just and that's part of my problem is the fact that I go down these rabbit holes, and I get lost in the labyrinth of railroad information that's on the internet or in books and magazines, and I just yeah.
So it's really interesting. I think a lot of people suffer from that in this hobby is, that is the, analysis paralysis, right? All of a sudden it's like, you know what? I'll just go out to Railroad Picture Archives and let's just take a look at that Jeep
Yep.
7 that I'm trying to build. And I'm like, oh my God, it's an SG 35 from the Seaboard Coastline. I got to look at that. Not relevant to my layout at all. And all of a sudden I'm looking at like what is it, the Aberdeen and Rockfish and all that stuff, and I'm gone. I'm just gone.
Railroads you have absolutely no intention on doing anything with. It's just it's gonna sound really weird. I'm a sucker for good paint schemes.
Yeah.
So if I see something that's a railroad that's got a really good paint scheme, or like I was never a fan, and I'm still not a fan of the New York Central, right? But the Finger Lakes Railroad out in New York has got a New York Central inspired paint scheme, and it's really sharp, and they did a really, really good job recreating it. And now I like that paint scheme. Even though I'm not a fan of the railroad, I like that paint scheme.
Yeah, right.
You know what I mean? So then all of a sudden, here you go down this road. And what does this all do? And I know we might be kind of a little off topic, but we're really not, because part of this is it all circles back to getting back into doing what you as a modeler like to do. And the issue is, how do we I guess for me, I think the biggest issue is, how do we filter all this information into production, into being something productive into our modeling? I guess that to me is where getting back into the basement is for me. Is how can I take all the information that I've gathered over the course of the last 4 months, let's say, and utilize this information on my railroad? How can I do that? And it's a struggle, because there's so many things you want to do, but you can't do them all.
Yeah. And I mean, it's kind of the unfortunate curse of this hobby, right?
Yeah.
But I think when we're starting to, kind of teeter on that. What do you do if you've been away from for a long time, right?
Yeah.
And but I don't want to get to that topic just yet, because I want you guys to stick around to finish that topic, because there's a couple of things that Mike and I want to do, and Mike doesn't know what we're going to be doing this yet.
I don't know nothing. I never know. I'm always the last to know everything around here.
Yeah, I didn't get him the the pre-production notes for tonight's show, but yeah, we're gonna kind of, like we said earlier, we're gonna go back to a little bit of the old format.
Yeah.
And this next segment is and Ray probably knows about what we're gonna show, or what I'm gonna show. But I found these things, and I think we're gonna have to dust off our old hashtag not sponsored segment.
We are.
Because I got something that I want to show, and I think Ray Arnott from Around the Layout podcast is going to be all over this. And
Well, bring it on, baby. I have no idea.
yeah,
I
all
am
right,
totally oblivious to this. This is awesome.
This is all new. It's all new. So we're just going to take a little break from the topic. We're going to bring this in right. All right, we're going back a little bit in time here to bring back hashtag not sponsored, where Mike and I show off some stuff that we thought was really cool that we found out in the model railroad world. And this one is coming to us from Moloco Freight Cars. It is a 50-foot high cube.
Oh yeah,
waffle.
I did see this. I saw this.
Yes. And so this one is for Ray.
Yeah.
So they're going through and releasing a ton of these highly detailed 50-foot high cube waffle.
Didn't their things say something just when you thought they were gone or something like that? Wasn't it along those lines? It was a really cool. There was a really cool slogan that they put with the involving this. It was that moped.
Yeah, I found it. I stumbled, in my countless hours on Facebook that I spend, right? But just the detail and the brake rigging and the just the overall detail. Tangent, Moloco, I think they're all in this vein, but I just absolutely love these cars.
Hey, go to that picture,
they do.
That prototype picture you just showed. The one.
This one?
Nope.
St. Louis?
Nope. That one.
That one.
Isn't that is that the Frisco car that they released?
This one that's next to it?
Yeah, it looks like the same car.
It might be. So we'll have to let's take a quick look-see here, right? So we'll go back to the freight cars here. Here's the Frisco one that they did.
Yeah, sure.
Look at that.
It looks really similar. If it's not, it's pretty close.
Pretty darn close.
That is very cool.
And I mean, 1974 is when it's new, according to the date here on the side of the car. So, your I guess your second generation diesel modelers, right? That era, 70s, 80s, 90s, they're probably still rolling around today. But hey, 50-foot high cube, right?
I wish you would have told me you were doing this. I've got something for this.
You got something for this? Well, I can stall.
Okay, you stall. I'll go get.
I'm gonna stall. We're gonna go and do another model here. This one. So again, the Florida East Coast one is really, really cool. And for some of you viewers a couple of months ago now know my shame that I didn't know that the Florida East Coast logo was a hurricane. Yeah, I admitted that openly on the show a couple months ago, but these cars are really sharp looking as well. And just a beautiful replica.
Let's see here.
So Mike,
now I gotta get over to where I need to be here to show that.
Okay. Yeah, waffle cars, and so those again. I just I saw those, and I know Ray's been lurking in the shadows tonight, so I wanted to get that out there and bring up the hashtag not sponsored segment.
You just broke Ray's wallet, is what you probably did.
That's what we model railroaders do for each other. We're friends. We're such good friends that we'll spend each other's money for you. And while Mike brings that up, we do have, I guess, a hashtag kind of sponsored. We don't really get any kickbacks from Engine House, but our friends at Engine House Services tonight are offering our viewers a special discount on any items purchased at their website at enginehouseservices.com. You're going to get 12% off If you spend over $250, so you want to pick up that new locomotive, you can get 12% off of that. Use the code GETBACK at the checkout to get that discount. And again, that's for the folks here that at Engine House that are just throwing this out to the section crew, because they're just some really good people over there at Engine House. So thanks, Justin. Thanks, crew. And so kind of getting into it, just looking at a couple of the comments, and keeping in line with the high cube, that around the layout boxcar needs to visit the Twin Cities soon. Yes, it does.
Ooh.
We need to find where that car is. So let's help Ray find where the around the layout podcast boxcar is. Here,
All right, I think I might be
Christopher
ready.
Palmieri, looking forward to those TO&E boxcars from Moloco. Yes. Oh, I am so sorry, Dave, that you spent your limit this month already. I'm sure there'll be a couple left. I'm sure there'll be a couple there for you guys.
Well, you could always spend a portion of next month's limit ahead. You pay yourself forward.
There you go. Yep. So, did you find what you were looking for, Mike?
I did.
Okay, bring it up. It's hashtag not sponsored.
All right.
When
I was down at the Chicagoland RPM, which was really cool. There was a lot of really cool stuff there. I was surprised at how much 164 scale or S scale stuff there was down there, and how many things. Oh yeah, and a lot of new products coming out and things like that, or things that are actually available. So I was talking with our friend Kevin Tully, because he was there from Steel Mill Modelers.
Steel Mill Modelers Supply.
Yep, Modular Supply.
Yes.
And he says, "Hey, Mike, come take a look at this." And I said, he goes, "Farland Terminal needs one of these." And it is a 90-ton press center flat car. This was the only one he's got printed in S scale at the time. So if you're in S scale and you want one, it is available in 164 scale as well as HO scale. And it came with, I've got some different trucks on the bottom of it. It actually comes with some 3D printed trucks with really nice metal wheels and everything. I wanted to try a different type of truck, just to compare the what am I trying to say? The way they work, to see which one actually works better.
Oh, yeah,
and they come with this really nice weight on the bottom. I glued that in there, and this thing is a couple of ounces, like maybe an ounce, if even, under NMRA spec empty for S scale. So this is a heavy car. And the detailing on it, I'm going to be doing a review for this for Model Rail News here soon. And so the detail on this is really, really cool. I'm going to share my screen here quick. Let's see if this goes anything like the microphone thing. Bad things are going to happen.
Your computer will melt.
It will melt. I know. It's
it's been a roller coaster ride this evening with you and technology.
There.
Oh, here we go. I'll pull down the hashtag not sponsored banner here. There we go.
See if I can
zoom in there.
They go right here.
Yeah.
Now, as you can see, they range in value from $35 to $70. You do have 2 scale options here. And I personally, I am having a hard time finding a prototype for this car. However, I have been told that it's kind of based off of I believe it's based off of a Pennsylvania style car. But I haven't gotten that far into it. He has it for his Allegheny route, his private railroad and stuff like that, which is his freelance one. Yep. So this is what they look like. It looks like painted, the HO version one. The detail on it is absolutely stunning. you know, you could almost make anything into a load for this. Like the tie downs, these are actually see-through tie downs. The holes on the tie down areas, you could actually string a piece of whatever you wanted to through there and make the load showed tied down.
Yeah, you could. I mean, all I'm thinking about right now is like a tumbler for the pellet machines at
Yep.
the iron mine, or some furnace parts for the iron mine and stuff like that. That's all I'm thinking about right now. Giant transformer for the mine.
Yep.
Whew.
You could take an old pill bottle and tip it on its side and do things with it. You could take any kind of thing you find could become a load of some sort. I mean, it's weird garbage that and equipment that the railroads haul all the time. It's incredible.
Yeah,
So yeah, it was really, really cool to see this. And I had it, even though my Farland Terminal Railroad doesn't have big, long trains or anything like that, it is an end user railroad.
Hmm.
So grain dryers would be brought in on something like this, or part or
Mm.
or generators, small generators could be brought in on this. And so, uh, you know, I thought this was a really cool car. I'm really excited to
It
get
is
painting it.
nice.
Yeah, it really tracks very well.
Yeah.
Even with the trucks that he 3D printed, it tracks really well. Um, I might try using those trucks instead and just changing out the wheels. I don't know how I'm going to do that yet. I'm in the process of trying and experimenting different things with it. So,
Cool.
um, yeah, again, go over. It's under the rolling stock tab, under the steel mill modelers supply.com. And
Nice.
yeah, the 90 tons depressed center flat car, really, really, really cool. Uh, yeah. So,
Yeah, it was fun having Kevin on the show a few
oh
weeks
yeah,
back. Yeah, it was
yeah,
good.
he's got such a passion for what he's doing, and
Yeah.
and he's gotten so good at it. So good at it. A lot of those 3D printer places have gotten really good. Ben Truesdale is another one that has come on. He's kind of burst on the scene in S scale with the Pullman Standard 4750 covered hopper. Is now in
Mhm.
production through 3D Central, I believe, through Matt Herman at 3D
For Matt
Central.
Herman and
Yeah,
his conglomerate.
yeah, and so it's just amazing, these 3D printing places. They're they're costing a lot of money now too. It's not
Yeah,
just
they're getting into your
it's just not
wallet.
the regular manufacturers, because if you want the odd, there's the place to go to get the odd,
Yeah,
you know?
exactly.
So,
No, and then this is interesting, and maybe it's a tongue in cheek comment, but from Split Rock. But since Shapeways, up and died, where all those stores going?
yeah, they died overnight.
Yeah,
Like, literally, it
Etsy.
was yeah, Etsy.
So,
So, uh,
no, it's
they're over
really
on
that's
MySpace.
hey, Tom on MySpace is still my friend. Okay,
Right?
yeah. But yeah, that's really cool. That Kevin has got. That's a sweet car out there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that was the latest thing, that I had found.
Yeah.
So
So
yeah, that's really,
that's
really neat.
yeah. So that's definitely getting your modeling juices flowing then,
Oh yeah.
by having a new toys to play with after coming home from a train from a RPM meet, Railroad Prototype Modelers meet.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
it's been a lot of fun, um, to um, kind of explore some of these new areas of the hobby that, like 3D printing and stuff like that. I mean, I do my
Yeah.
own 3D printing, but to see what other people are doing and to have the quality of this stuff coming out right now is just phenomenal, and
Yeah.
it's gonna only keep getting better. So
Yeah, that is true. That is so true. So, Mike, we're at probably the midway point here,
Yeah.
and we have been getting a ton of requests from the section crew.
Yeah.
Where's the short line of the show?
I
Are we
don't
going to
know.
do short line of the show this week?
I don't
Did
know.
did you guys sell off short line of the show?
Yep, we sold it. It's a small Malaysian company owns it now. We have no rights.
We have no rights.
Yeah.
So I think the the second section faithful has waited very patiently for this moment.
They
Um,
have. Oh
are you are you
no.
gonna are you gonna deliver?
I'm. Oh no. No, not yet.
Not yet.
Stand by.
Stand by. Physically. We're plugging stuff in. Oh man, production value
Why?
ne-
Why?
never ceases to amaze me here at the second section.
Okay, we're gonna
So
try.
so I'm guessing we touched something in the pre-show that made you lose some stuff.
Not some stuff, a lot of stuff. Hold on.
That makes sense. That
Talk
makes a
amongst
lot of
yourself.
sense.
Talk amongst yourselves.
All right. So I guess we're not going to be doing short line of the show just yet.
I didn't say that. Oh no.
Yes, Tom Klomoski, 100% accurate. Ignore the man behind the curtain. That is 100%. John S says we sold short line of the show to Genesee in Wyoming. The Orange Borg now has the rights to short line of the show. Illinois Midland Railroad, plug in the flux capacitor, and it looks like there's definitely some fluxing going on over there on Mike's side of the show. David Winter says fire the producer, and I think he's right. We should totally get a new group of folks here.
I may have saved it.
Oh, really?
Maybe. Hold on.
Adam Cruz, hashtag not ready. Yep.
No, I was
true.
ready. I was ready. I was ready. I was ready. Ish. Sorry.
And Otter Creek and Rio Grande. Yeah, the added suspense will only make it better, which is true.
Lower your bar, kids.
Oh no! Bar is set super high tonight.
Get going on it before it decides to do something stupid.
Famous last words.
I almost don't want to touch anything.
Well, you have to touch some things.
All right.
Oh man, it is time. It is time for short line of the show. We just got back from the smoke break. The Greasy Meat Hands band.
Yeah, this better be worth it.
And
not a chance.
Yeah, not a snowball's chance in hell. This is going to be a disaster, but that's okay. That's what we come to know and love here from the Second Section podcast. So, good times. So, Mike.
Yeah.
Short line of the show. Where are we?
Well, we're in New Mexico, and if there's a state I could have skipped over, New Mexico would have been it. This one. How long has it been since we've done one?
It's been at least 2 months.
Yeah. Well, let me put it to you this way. It's been every bit of that and then some, trying to figure out what to do and how to get this accomplished. And so I did the best I could. I pieced some things together. It's not perfect, but it's kind of cool at the same time. All right.
All right.
All right. Let's see if I can.
So here we go. We're back, baby, with the short line of the show.
Yes, we are.
Mike
okay.
I
apologize. I apologize ahead of time. This is lower your bars. That's all I got to say. Let's see here. Window. Let's see. That's not it. That's not it. That's not it. Okay, there's that. There's that. Click. Can you guys all see this? Oh, now what do I do?
Hit
To that. There. Can you see
Okay.
that?
I'm going to put it on full screen, Mike, if that's all right.
Yeah. Would it be better if I wasn't on full screen or no?
I don't know. I think this works good. Let's roll with this
Because I
one.
can't see you or anybody. So
That's
we're
okay.
at the Southwestern Railroad.
Da 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 da.
Dun, da, da, da. All right. So the Southwestern Railroad began its operations in 1990. So a relatively newer type of railroad. Yeah. It took over some Santa Fe trackage that served Phelps Dodge copper mines in Chino and Tyrone, New Mexico, which is actually kind of neat because we don't have I don't think we've ever talked about a railroad that did a lot of copper mining, have we? I'm trying to think. I'm trying to think. What did we do in Arizona? Was that Copper Basin? Did we do Copper Basin?
Yeah, we did Copper Basin.
So that would have been the same, a similar railroad to Copper Basin. You know, copper mine type of thing. They're based out of Deming, New Mexico. They've got about 182 miles of trackage, and
okay, so this is one of the bigger ones we've done.
Yep. And they've got they're primarily just run copper ore back and forth, and with they make anodes and cathodes and some sulfuric acid, and there's a few other places in there too that do some as you'll see here that do some industrial stuff for them. So here's a map.
Okay.
And I don't know if I can zoom in on this at all, but anyway, here's Deming, New Mexico, and they've got basically two branches. You have the one that goes over here to Rincon, and then you have another one that comes up this way towards Whitewater, and here is that Tyrone mine, and then they have the Hanover mine in Hanover Junction and goes up to Fierro. So there's a lot of nothing in between some of these places. They're just, I from my experience with researching this railroad, like the town of like this place called Mirage, that's just a location name. There's literally nothing there. At least
Like a
not
ghost
that I could,
town?
not even a town. It's just a spot. It's hard to describe. When you see some of the photos, a lot of what you're going to see came off of Google Maps. So, because there's not a lot on the net itself to show what this really looks like, because the mines themselves are not exactly
Like
they're not
accessible, huh?
accessible. Yeah, accessible would be a good way of putting it. So, and then here here's where the BNSF comes into Rincon and goes through the interchange with them, and also the Union Pacific. And then over here you have the UP down here also. And yeah, it's a neat little railroad. Here is if you can see this,
Ooh, the roster.
this is the motive power roster for the railroad. It's really quite eclectic. One of the things that this railroad is known for is it has the only two GP26s ever built. And what those were is their former GP30s from the GM&O that the IC, or Illinois Central Gulf, went through the Paducah program with them and rebuilt them into a GP26. So that's really, really kind of neat. And
That's awesome.
Yeah, they're primarily an entire EMD railroad, except for this one lone GE.
A B39-8.
B39 of all the locomotives that GE made, the B39-8. So, and that was an old LMX unit. So yeah,
Oh,
they've got some, and if you look real close, they didn't just they didn't say, well, we're only going to get our power from one location. You've got Conrail, you got former Penn Central, GM&O, Santa Fe. You have some old Phelps Dodge. MKT is in here. Chicago Northwestern
I was
is
gonna
in
say
here.
they got C&W in
Yeah,
here.
I mean the list. This is Missouri Pacific. I mean the list is rather broad as to where the lineage of a lot of these locomotives came from, which is
They
really
look.
kind of neat. It's
It
to me that's kind of cool.
looks like they gobbled up a bunch of the Chicago Northwestern SD50s.
They did well. They had to go someplace. I mean,
Yeah,
what
those
better
things are
place?
piles.
Yeah, what better place than out in the desert where they can actually like maybe function the way they were supposed to?
Yeah.
Um, so here are a few photos that I found on the internet of the GP26s. And if you look
Oh,
real close, there you could see where the Jeep 30 comes in. They have the Alco trucks or the AAR type trucks. They have, the Jeep 30 style fuel tank, the Jeep 30 radiators, but all of this they took all of the
the blister.
blister, if you want to call it that, off, and then they put a different nose on it. So, because
Oh.
it's got a flat end like a Jeep 9 for the nose. So they're really kind of sharp looking. And I've only ever seen pictures of these running together.
Huh.
So yeah, so they're just kind of stuck together, So I'm not sure if they're still running, but they're pretty cool. They're turbocharged still, and they're just really, really neat looking little
Wow.
locomotives. The only two that the IC ever built. They're kind of cool. So
Those are some really cool shots that you found, Mike. The trestle scene there over the gully
yeah,
or the
over that
wash.
old that dry wash. Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
uh, that's one of my favorite scenes to see just out west period are those little bridges over the washes.
it. Doesn't the
Um,
sky just look this is gonna sound dumb, but doesn't it just look big? Doesn't that just give you a sense of mass with the sky, and then how it just
it's
to me that
vast.
vast. Yeah, that's a good way of putting
Yeah,
it because it doesn't look like it has an end. So it's really, really, really cool. You're right. That's one of my favorite pictures that I've saw so far.
yeah.
Let's see
Very
what's
cool, Mike.
next. This is some GP30s that they have. These are former Phelps Dodge units because they have the 2-digit number. Phelps Dodge had, if we go back, I'm going to go back to the beginning.
Gonna go
This
back
is
in time.
this is what the Phelps Dodge units looked like towards the end. They had the big red outline ball with the number in the middle of it, and they were, I want to say they were a bluish gray color at one time. Obviously, being out in the desert didn't do them any favors. You could see this one is being parted out. It has no tank underneath it and stuff. So, but um, yeah, that's what the Phelps Dodge units looked like. And this is once they got painted up and all prettied up. Uh, this is the way they ended up looking. Here's the number 30 right here. That's the same unit.
So
So,
Illinois Midland says they got high clearance fuel tank.
oh, maybe the Phelps Dodge, that would make sense.
Yeah,
I never thought of that. Never thought of that. That's kind of cool. But I thought those were
yeah.
kind I thought the Jeep 30, I mean, again, I don't know if these are still running, but if they are, there aren't very many Jeep 30s running around, that are still Jeep 30s. So here's another Phelps Dodge Jeep 30. I must have had a thing for the Jeep 30s when I was putting this together. Yeah, there you go. You can see the high clearance fuel tank right here. Yeah, good call. Yeah, yellow. That was what that was supposed to be, yellow. So I mean they're just cool looking. So far, these are just neat looking
Yeah,
locomotives.
it's just really cool painted locomotives for a short
Yeah,
line.
they've got some GP9s.
Hmm.
They obviously, I'm just kind of throwing out some paint scheme stuff here. This, again, here's another one where it looks like it's got a smaller fuel tank, a little bit more for clearance, but that just might be a small fuel tank in there. So
So we're getting a ton of questions, Mike. So
yes, okay,
David
fire away.
Winter, what and Paul Stamp and the Finger Lakes Railway and a few others are asking, what is the purpose of that fuel tank, the high clearance tank? Why?
Okay, so high clearance fuel tanks are typically found on industrial style railroads that um Kennecott Copper was another one that was always had high clearance fuel tanks. And it's because some of the trackage they would have to the trackage would get, loaded up with rock and debris and things like that they'd have to go over. So in order to minimize damage to the fuel tank and plowing through all of that, they would just put the high clearance stuff on and go over the top of it. And that's the way I've always understood it, is the reasoning behind it. I'm not sure if there's another application for it, but I believe it's because the locomotives would go down into some of them would go down into the pits themselves and have to come back up where there is clearance issues with the bottom of the locomotive. And I know there was also a reason why Kennecott Copper had the really tall cabs. There was a reason for that also, and I can't remember exactly off the top of my head what that was either. But yeah, that as far as I know, that was the reasoning for
Yeah.
the high profile fuel tanks, so they didn't get damaged. And not only that, but they're not going thousands of miles. You're not going very. You're in a captive industrial setting. You know what I mean?
Your conveyor belt essentially is
It's,
Split Rock likes to always say, right?
yeah, it's a conveyor belt. You know, so
Paul Stamp, off-roading locomotives, sweet.
right. Right. Next thing you know,
Yeah.
they're gonna have like what's that? A snorkel
AC
on it.
lights on the
Yeah,
top.
KC lights on the top and a snorkel. You know. Yep.
Oh man, we do have fun here at the second
Yep.
section.
You go put big balloon tires on them, get rid of the rails, just
Yep,
drive them.
there you go.
Let's see here. All right, now here's uh near. Okay, how can I say this? Out of Deming, New Mexico, heading towards Rincon. This is that line. So near Hatch, New Mexico, this is Las Uvas Valley Dairy. And they have a little load, like almost like a transload area right there. And I thought that was kind of weird that it was a dairy.
It
and
is weird.
yeah, and the reason I don't have the entire photo is because the plant is huge and this gets lost if you have the whole thing. If you have it all the way zoomed out to show the whole plant, this little spot gets lost. It literally looks like just a gray line. So I zoomed in on it and thought that this would be kind of neat.
Huh.
So then also in Hatch, you have this. I found this to be really interesting. You have the main line, which is here. Then you have this siding, which is right here. This goes all the way from this switch here, all the way through down the main to right here. So that's a siding where you have, and this is like a wooden dock, like an unloading dock of some sort. At least that's the way it looks like. Then you have this small little siding over here that's got a bunch of 2-bay covered hoppers stored, but right here you have 2 open hoppers that look like they're staged for loading. what they're loading in there. I'm imagining aggregate of some sort, but it's to me, I kind of thought, boy, this is kind of a neat. It would be a neat double deck layout, I think, if you wanted to run a double deck layout kind of like one section of this, I think. I don't know that you could actually do it in both sections.
Hmm.
This is near Rincon.
Oh,
Yeah. I saw this on the overhead. And I thought, ooh, I wonder if I can get down to Street View, and I was able to, and I got over it. Is this not a really cool truss bridge? That to me, I think that is sharp.
yes.
It's basic. It doesn't have a whole lot of frills to it, but there's something about the 3-span deal.
Yep.
It just gives this just absolute, like an HO scale. How long would that be an HO scale?
I'd be
2 feet,
2-3 feet. Yeah.
3 feet. So that would be. It kind of reminded me a little bit of Scott Thornton's bridge on his layout.
Hmm.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? So it just, to me, I thought this was really, really cool, and it would be a really neat modeling project to kind of almost like a signature scene type of thing to have on the railroad. And as you can see, there's a lot of brown mixed with green. So if you were afraid
Yeah.
of trying to pour water, this would be a great railroad to do it with, to not do it
'Cause-
with, because everything's
yeah.
just a dry, a
Yeah.
wash.
I mean,
So
I don't know. It's kind of pretty, right?
it's oddly pretty. Yeah. You have the mountains or the hills in the background here. That's really kind of
Right.
sharp. So
Mm.
then near Rincon, New Mexico, you have this Rio Valley Produce, and this place is basically a co-op. It looks kind of like a desert grain elevator, I guess would be. There's a very boxy structure with just 6 silos on it, and it's got the one track, and it really kind of neat. But I would like to know, these almost look like an orchard of some sort, or planted, like purposely planted, like a farm row type of deal. Like, I don't know what they are. I have no idea what those plants are. But it'd be interesting to find out.
What's the name of that place?
Rio Valley Produce.
All right, we got to do the little
Yeah,
Google foo here.
do the Google
What is
Fu
it?
Manchu thing.
Rio
Valley
Valley
Produce.
Produce.
Yeah.
Rio Valley Produce. Oh yeah, look at that.
Yeah.
Rincon. It's a grocery store
What?
in Rincon.
Yeah. That's interesting.
Huh.
Yeah.
How about
that? That's what this is called. So then here we are at Rincon. And Rincon is kind of interesting. This is only one portion of it, but this is the portion.
So
Yeah.
we're getting the section crew here. So Robert Thomas and Gavin F. They're pecan orchards.
That would make a lot of sense then, why there would be a processing plant right next to them.
Oh my gosh.
Pecan. When have you ever heard of pecan processing plant on a model railroad? How cool would that be? What an interesting industry to try to model. That's actually kind of neat. I like that. I like that a lot.
So we have our resident expert here in the chat with us. So Gavin lives 30 miles from the Southwestern Railroad.
Okay.
So there we go.
I wish I would have known that. I would have bent his ear a little bit. Gavin, if I'm screwing this up, let me know.
I'm sure he will fact check you on the fly.
Yeah, I welcome it because this was a very difficult railroad to try to figure out. Um, and so, but
I
at
didn't
Ring,
pronounce
huh?
pecans right.
Who? Me? I know it's
No,
supposed to
Chris.
pecans.
Well, it's our friend Christopher Palmieri giving us the business here.
Yeah, it's pecans. It's
Pe-
pecans around here.
give me them there pecans.
The pecans.
Okay. Well,
So
my eyeball has
huh?
been trained to see a Y.
Yes, yes. This is at Rincon. This is from what I gather, the Southwest Railroad down here on the lower left corner. This is where the Southwestern Railroad comes in, and I'm not 100% sure if I believe this is an industrial lead of some sort, and this is their like their yard, and then this line here, towards the upper right corner, heads down towards another area that looked like it has some interchanges. I don't know if I did. Nope, that was so. Uh, the Rincon is very, very interesting. And so this is just the part that I thought I like the why and all of the stuff that's in there. So I had to kind of focused on that. But yeah, so then we go back to Deming, which is where the railroad's based out of, and this is what it says their headquarters are, or their place. And this is a portion of their yard in Deming. To the right here, you go towards Rincon. To the left, you go towards the Tyrone Mill. Let's see. Here's another part of that's just to the left. That's the start right here. That's their little yard in New Mexico. They're in Deming, New Mexico. Not a lot. I think it's like 4 tracks here and like two or three right over here.
Wow.
Yeah.
So this is crazy. Like this is another short line that could easily be a shelf
Yeah.
model railroad
Absolutely. Yeah.
or a double decker. You could make this one a nice shelf layout, or you could take this and make it a room size double deck or even a
Yeah.
basement filler.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. It's crazy. There's a lot of, I know I say there's a lot of nothing, but the desert scenery is something that's beautiful in its own right. It's not something that we're used to up here in the Midwest or in the East or anything like that. But those that are down in the desert areas in New Mexico, Arizona, portions of California and some portions of Texas and stuff, that they're really, really lucky, I think, because their their scenery is so vastly different than what it is up here that when like someone from the Midwest goes down and takes a look at, I got a great appreciation for the scenic value of this railroad. It's
Mhm.
really, really is pretty. Um, like I say, look at it looks like it's nothing but sand and I'm imagining sage or whatever
Sage.
this is, but still it has its own beauty to a scenic value, but this is I'm gonna pronounce this so wrong. Loist, Loist,
Lahoist.
Loist, Loist,
Lawast.
Loist. I believe they have a railroad in Tennessee, I believe it is,
They
but
do.
this is a part of their railroad, a transload facility or what have you, down here just to the, I believe it's northwest of Deming. So, am I getting
I've
fact
just
checked?
no. You're doing great. Everything is spot on. I just had a little, I guess, weird thought enter my head about
Oh boy.
pecans. Loquast.
Are we still on pecans?
Oh yeah, the pecans or pecans.
Pecans.
I can't say pecan with a straight face because I got a pecan in my boat for when I got to go to the bathroom.
See, right? It's
So
a different type of pecan.
yeah. So anyhow, long. Yeah, it just. I'm sorry, Mike.
It's still part of the nut family, though.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's see here. What?
We're all good now. Everything's fine.
Are you sure? So, all right. So after this location here, there is miles of this with a handful of bridge washes and things, the majority of which has no road access. So yeah. So the next real main thing here is Hurley, New Mexico. And to the line that goes straight up here, which I believe is north, this goes towards Fierro, and then the line over towards would be northwest, I believe, would be the line that goes to the Tyrone mine. And both of these got very difficult to follow, especially the one the Tyrone mine, because at one point it looks like it just the tracks just abruptly disappear, almost like they were tore out. So I don't know if this is active anymore going this way. Going towards Fierro, it looked like it was active, but I don't know if it's active all the way to Fierro anymore. Because after you'll see when I get to this line. So we're going to follow over here to Tyrone first. So we're going to go up here. The next, a lot of this in between. So from that junction to the Tyrone mine, this is all there is. Now, one thing that's really cool is that the line does look like it went past here. There's a tunnel right here that goes underneath this road. And it does go down. It's almost like a giant tail track. But this is the Tyrone mine. And like I said before, it obviously it must get some copper ore, or this is where the copper ore is processed. But this is a several tracks. I want to say there's 4 or 5 tracks here. And I tried to get a picture from down in this road right here of the mine area, and it just wasn't good. So I just included the overhead. So now that's it for that line. There's this, and then there's this. That's it. So now here at the junction, we go up to Hurley, and at Hurley, it gets really cool, kind of neat. So there's another Y here and another small yard. But what makes this neat is the fact that if you follow this you want to talk about a shelf layout?
Yeah.
We're going to, right here, pay attention to this piece of trackage right here, which is a small little runaround. That's right here.
Yeah.
Now it comes over this way, it comes down here, but then goes over this way, goes here and into here.
Ooh.
But wait, that line
There's more?
But this line here circles around and comes down into this plant, and yet there's another track that comes over here, and these tracks go back up here between these two. Because this track comes up from over here someplace. It's the damnedest thing I've ever seen. It's almost like its own switchback. It's like, yeah, it's like an industrial switchback. So
all I'm thinking about is
here we go. Pecans. I know, pie.
No. I'm my mind goes back to Tom Klimovsky and the switchback that we've
did we have to start that?
Yeah, so Split Rock does have an interesting question. Was this all former Southern Pacific track?
I don't know.
Okay.
I think it's Santa Fe. Portions of it are former Santa Fe. And I think some of the mining operations were that Phelps Dodge. So I don't know if this portion here that we're looking at is the Phelps Dodge portion, and the other section from Deming uh going towards Rincon, if that was the former Santa Fe section. But that it would be kind of interesting to find that out. But I just kind of thought this industrial trackage was really neat.
Yeah.
Um, and then to kind of to kind of put a bow on this, here is the only freight car I could find, and it's a caboose. And it looks like it could be a former Santa Fe caboose or something along those lines. I have no idea. But it's I kind of thought it was kind of a neat looking caboose, and it would be kind of a cool little project. I like the ladder, the ladder on the side here is kind of interesting. But yeah, this is, from what I can see, this is the only freight car that they own, and it's a caboose. So, that is your short line of the show for the Southwestern Railroad. They have a lot of other power. Obviously, this engine's had an issue. Take a look at this
Yeah,
before
it
I
looks
go
like it's a
on.
little banged up.
Yeah, it's kind of missing its steps. So don't
Maybe
go
those
here.
are what is that? High access steps.
Yeah, high access steps. You have to be 6'5" or taller to be able to step on this. So no, this engine obviously had an issue, and needs to get repaired. But they do have other locomotives. I had intended on getting a handful more on here, but Rail Picture Archives was being Rail Picture Archives, and I wasn't able to get a whole lot of stuff off of them in the last few days. But so that Southwestern Railroad. The next time we do this, we're going to be in New York State. There's a lot in New York State to deal with. So if somebody has a suggestion as to a railroad they would like me to cover, send me a message at let's see here. You could send a message to was this at secondsection.com, right? That's our email.
No, it's second
No.
section podcast at
Oh, yeah.
gmail.com.
There, send it there. That's
Yeah.
where my brain is at. I'm still stuck on this whole pecan thing now. So
Yeah, it's and Lawast.
the what?
I don't know.
LaHoist?
I'm like LaHoist.
LaHoist. So
LaHoist.
if you have a suggestion, let me know. It's there are a lot of really cool short lines in New York. A lot of historic short lines that are no longer around. So, just send a message to second section podcast at gmail.com. And with any luck, within the next year or so, we'll get to New York.
Well done, Mike. I thought that you played it down so much, but I thought that was great. I really did.
Really?
I thought, yeah, of course. I think
Oh, look,
everyone
we're
here
already
is
getting them. The LANL.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I don't want to do the LANL, but I might anyway, because even though I believe the LANL, didn't they just cut up a bunch of GBW C424s?
I don't know the answer to that, Mike.
Yeah, Tim, let me know if that's correct. Yeah, the DLWR. My God, there's so many in New York. Middletown in New Jersey. That railroad, if I remember right, the Middletown in New Jersey, wasn't that featured as a railroad you can model by Model Railroader back in like the late 70s or early to mid 80s? Somebody let me know about that one, because that might be a neat one to try to do. Finger Lakes. Yeah, Finger Lakes is so, yeah, see, look at the TH and B, Ralph, we're not doing that one. That's Canada. Nice try. They have to be based out of New York. So, although the TH and B was a really cool railroad.
You know what? So Don Hanley, you may need to do several short lines of the month in New York.
Like, I don't have enough work to do. Hey, here's a good idea. Here's an idea. I'll do a short line of show for New York. Okay. But if there's another railroad, once we figure out what one I'm going to do, if somebody out there in the section crew would like to put together their own short line of the show and present it, let us know. Because, little bit of interaction, we can explain to you exactly what we're looking for, exactly how what is going to be needed, and then you can come on and present your short line of the show live, and one of the shows coming up. Bat and Kill, there's a good one too. There's a book that just came out about the Bat and Kill Railroad, I believe.
I think we've had a couple of emails a little while ago asking to do that one.
Bat and Kill.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, Arcade in Attica. God, there's another one. I swear to God, that one was also part of a railroad you can model by Model Railroader.
It's a lot of. Well, look at this. BL&E Bob +1 on the Bat and Kill.
But in all honesty, in all seriousness, if somebody would like to try their hand at putting together their own short line of the show, let Andy and I know, and we'll be more than welcome to help you, get you started on what you need to do, and we can help like give you the blueprint as to what needs to be done, and you can put your own show together and then present it live on one of the upcoming shows. So, but yeah. So
that was great, Mike. I thought that was really, really, you always do a great job, and
thanks.
You always, like I said, take credit where credit's due. Thanks, Mike, for putting that together for us. It was, I know I had fun, and there was just looking at the interaction here in the chat tonight, a lot of fun therein. So
Split Rock, we just covered that one in New Jersey. Go back and look at the show. The short line of the show prior to New Mexico, we did the Cross Harbor. Oh man, what the heck was the name of that one? Now I got to look that one up. Hold on a second. Now I got to go back here and look this one up. It's because now I know exactly what New York, New Jersey Railroad. Yep, New York, New Jersey Rail. That was the name of it. Yep. So
I think I hit the mute button in time before that sneeze came on live. So
well, but thank you very much, everybody. I know some of these states are really tough to figure out because there's not a lot out there. So especially down in the Southwest, there's not a whole lot. So
it's dust. So let's get back to the topic. We talked about I haven't modeled in a few weeks, a month, or whatever. Yeah. What happens when you've been away? You have taken the radical sabbatical. It's been years since you've even held a model in your hands and you want to get back into model railroading, what do you do?
I thought that was nice. Nice, Chris. Thanks. What do you do after you're taking that time off?
Yeah.
I
Start
think
over.
you
That's what.
start you start small.
Ah.
Start small. Every large layout started with one stick of wood, one idea, one one thought. Any shelf layout has had the same idea. Any diorama has had the same thing. Um, he could, or it's just if you bite off too much, it may deter you from wanting to move forward because now you've got too much to handle.
I think
Um,
I think that's a great comment. I think to build on it a little bit, it's really try and focus the subject that you want to model, right? So
yeah,
not even just by starting the brick by brick like you're suggesting, but before you even do that, and you're just getting back into it, you don't know what's going on, and you know what do you want to do, and
yeah.
really focus in. And there's a lot, like we talked about it earlier, there's a lot of information out there, right?
Mhm.
And you can get overwhelmed really easily, and it's very it's easy to fall into the trap of I'm going to build the whole railroad
Yep.
from Chicago to St. Louis to Los Angeles.
Yeah, I'm building New York to Los Angeles, and I'm gonna do it on a 4x8 sheet of plywood. And that's exactly, you know, that's that used to be a mindset, you
Hmm.
know, but now one of the things, like if you're like me, we're and I'm being a little serious here because it is an issue, is like I've had an issue with ADHD for almost my entire life. So, I mean, people call it squirrel syndrome or whatever. I lose focus, ooh, shiny,
Right.
and then you go off. In the model railroad world, there's so much to look at and so much to distract you from getting your goal achieved because there's always a video to watch. There's always, especially nowadays, there's always something going on. There's always a new thing coming out that everybody must have, right?
Yeah, like those high cube boxcars from
Like
Moloco,
the high
hashtag not
cube. Yeah.
sponsored.
Yep. Hashtag not sponsored. But it, and, y- you know, for, for, for the modeler getting back into it, y- you've ever seen the thing where how's the phrase go? Uh, you have to wade through the noise or something along those lines where you just have to kind of
Right.
do that and find your way and push towards that because you're going to have everything closing in on you to, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do this, oh, you should do this, oh, you need 20 of these, oh, you need this, or you need this. You need to block that all out and clear your head and clear your mind space and say, what do I want to do? What do I want to accomplish? And if that means that you take a 4x8 sheet of plywood and build something on that, awesome. That I'm going to use Mike Shanky as an example. Look at what he's been doing with his Wisconsin
Yeah.
Southern layout. He was terrified to weather stuff. Now his
Yeah.
weathering has gotten very, very good.
Yeah.
He didn't want to tear down his layout because he was afraid of what it might happen when he might not get what he wants out of a new layout, and now he's gotten really good at building this. His layout right now is just amazing, and but everything starts with the first step, right? I don't know how many cliches I can throw out at one time, but
You're doing a
it
great job.
no, thanks. But it's true. There, you know, every layout everything starts up here before you put it out on paper. Even before you put it on paper, it all starts up here. So if you have an idea or you see something, freaking just go do it. Go for it.
So this is there, Jerry Smith. Find a modular group and build a module.
I love that idea.
I think that's fantastic advice. It's a limited project. He says it's a limited project and it will put you in touch with active modelers who can bring you up to speed on what's current in the hobby.
I think that is a phenomenal idea.
I think that's quote of the night.
It very well could be. Yeah.
Yeah.
Other than pecans.
Well, Lawast.
Yeah, Loast. But I think that is a fantastic idea because, like you said, you're hyper focused now on this one spot.
Yeah.
No problem,
Right.
Mike. I'm telling you, it's the truth. It's beautiful. Your layout, you're doing great with it. It's fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. But yeah, you like with you, Andy. How many times did you and I have a conversation with your layout where you're like, I don't know what I want to do. I don't know what I want to do. I'm like, what do you mean? Well, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. Or I'm going to do this. I'm like, okay, is that going to make you happy? Probably not. Well, then why are you even bothering to think about it?
Because I got to do
something.
I got to do something, right?
I got to do something. And I think that might be another problem is where we get into that I got to do something attitude, or we see other people making all this progress. Well, all their progress, you have to remember, has taken years to get to that point.
Yeah.
It hasn't just come overnight. They didn't just magically wake up in the layout fairy, through layout seeds and it's all done. It's, everything has taken years and years and years, and reverting back, tearing out, rebuilding, doing this. I mean, I go to think about Luke Lemon's Sioux Second sub layout. I don't know how he just made a really good post the other day about a piece of scenery on his layout that he was never really happy with. Tore it out, redid it. Now it looks gorgeous. It met it now meets what his expectation is for what that scene was supposed to look like. So I think getting back to the layout is exactly that same thing. If after a little bit of a hiatus, you look at your layout and say, boy, I'm really not happy with this. Find your happy spot. Find what's going to make you happy and build it.
Yeah.
And if that's a module, then that's a module,
I think one of the things that it comes into, there's a couple of notes that I just want to take away, from what you said is, don't compete against others and get caught in that trap. Right. So you got a layout and it's plywood Pacific still, or something like that. Don't compare it to someone who's been doing it for a decade. Right. Because it's apples and cinder blocks. It's totally different. And I think the other piece that I would bring with that is, just, I don't know. I forgot my ramblings. I forgot, and you brought this up, and I just got totally distracted.
Sorry.
That's all right.
You want me to take it down so you can reset?
No, we might let's
because this is I saw this and I'm like, that's an amazing part of it. That's a question you have to answer for yourself as a layout owner and a modeler. Do you want, in all reality, Okay, in all reality, when you're out rail fanning, what are you out there to look at? The trains, right? So
Mhm.
in real life, you're out there showcasing the trains when you're rail fanning. Okay, on your model railroad, well, how many times have we heard it talked about where, yeah, all this great detail on all these freight cars is amazing, and it's we thank the manufacturers all the time for building such amazing products. But how many people are actually going to notice the dates on the side of the cars as it's going by while you're walking along with the train? You're more focused. You're not even focused on the train. You're more focused on the job you have at hand. And I don't even think the layout itself, it's the job that you end up focusing on. If that makes any sense at all. You
You
don't
know,
worry about the scenery portion or the train itself. It's, I need to get this boxcar put in this industry at this location during an operating
y
session.
and but that's for the layouts that are, or where you're doing an operating session. Like
Yes.
when we were at St. Louis and we were at Tony Pellegrino's, right?
Yeah.
And and I'm on the steel mill job. I didn't see the rest of the layout, and I was focused on this little bit and not putting my car cards on the layout, and
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
and doing that. And I think you bring up a good point. Um,
It could be Plywood Pacific, and you'd never
yeah,
know it if you're out there operating a layout.
yeah.
You're not worried about what the scenery looks like or what the train looks like. You're worried about the job at hand. Now, with that being said, personal opinion, if I had to pick one or the other in life, the train goes through scenery first. So I believe that the train is actually what complements your scenery.
Mm.
It gives the train a sense of location. Your scenery gives the location and the feel of what you're doing and what you're trying to accomplish. So they complement each other. But the train, to me, I believe the scenery needs to be done to a point where the train becomes secondary. Do you see what I'm saying? Like right there behind you. Behind you, I look at that, and yeah, the train looks really, really nice, but I'm looking at your trees. I'm looking at all the scenery that you've done and all the things the train complements your scenery. The scenery doesn't do anything for the train. The train's the train, but your scenery gives you that feel of, I'm up in Michigan, or I'm in this part of the state of Wisconsin.
Northern Wisconsin,
I'm
right?
in northern Wisconsin. That's because you could put a Santa Fe engine on there if you wanted to, you know,
Yeah.
and sugar beet cars. They would look a little bit out of place, probably, potentially, but the scenery would give some semblance of a location. And that's why I believe the scenery and on a layout is really important. And I'm terrible at it, and I'm gonna really try the best I can to learn how to do it, because right now I'm that's why I keep on going slow, is because I keep thinking of things I want to do scenic wise,
Sure.
and I go on the layout and I'll write little notes on the layout as to what I want where, how I want this to look, stuff like that. So yeah, that's my opinion. What do you think?
Well, I don't disagree with your opinion at all, and I think it's a fantastic segue, though. I mean, so like, I want to disagree with it.
Could we just one time disagree on something?
But I think it's a fantastic segue to kind of close this topic and start to talk about the our next show, right? So,
Yeah.
but I will say that I think my train of thought has finally caught up to my other train that went through a little bit ago. Like with the stuff that's going on here, and getting back into the hobby, it can be really overwhelming. I think the narrowing your focus down, picking maybe a short line, picking an industry on that short line. Going back to the comment of do a module, a 2x4 module could just be a mainline run through, but you get to practice all those other skills that are going to get you to build up into, something where it's something like this, a shelf layout behind you is a little more manageable. And yeah, go ahead, Mike.
Oh, I was just going to ask. Well, you just said that. Do you think when you started your El Dorado module a long time ago, a while
Yeah.
ago,
Yeah.
that your scenic skills would be what they are right behind you?
No, not one. I mean,
If you go back and look at that module now, do you go and look at it and say, "Yeah, I got to really redo this"?
yeah, like the cattails are 14 feet, or 18 feet tall, and like it just looks crazy, and some of the other stuff. Yeah, of course. I got weird lines in the terrain where I didn't, finish them off nice and smooth, and it looks boxy and stuff. So yeah, there was some. I mean, but there's some of it that looks great,
Yeah,
but then some of
right.
it, looks like,
But that
looks
started
like
small. You started
a,
small and
a
have
beginner
progressed.
did it. So yeah, of course. And I learned a lot of stuff along the way. And I even before that, I started with it was just a little diorama that I made, and I put 2 pieces of track across it. And yeah, that's what I did, in a little bit of terrain, and we started
Yeah,
with that just so I could put trains on to take pictures of.
yeah.
And yeah, I think finding that interest, and really narrowing it in, picking an era, so that way you're not buying steam trains and dash nines all in the same breath, right? Like
Right.
like this guy, right? Um, but yeah, that's for sure. And I think to now bring it back forward, like all of that skill development gets you to building, that stage, right?
Yeah.
That
Yep.
where the trains pass through it and it looks natural. And we've heard the term quite a bit, the immersive experience, right?
Oh, yes.
And we our next show, our guest is gonna is the master of the immersive experience. We're
Oh,
gonna
I would say. I'd
yeah,
say he could write a book on it.
yeah, he certainly could. Um so just to let the cat out of the bag, November 7th is going to be our next show, and Boomer from Boomer Dioramas is going to be joining us. And we are going to be talking all things River Road, and we're going to have um, some surprises during the show that you're not going to want to miss. So we're gonna
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
not it's not we Boomer's going to be trying out a new setup, and it should be a lot of fun. And we're gonna be talking about his railroad, and the stuff that he's doing. And then of course, wouldn't be a fun show if we didn't have something to give away, right?
Right. Right.
Yeah, so we're going to be doing some giveaways during the show as well. So it's going to
Yeah.
be a rip roaring good time on the 7th. That's
Yeah.
for
It's gonna
sure.
be. That's gonna be a that's going to be one for the ages. Anytime he comes on the show, it's awesome. So.
Yeah. So any closing thoughts here, Mike, on the topic about getting back into the hobby before we tie down for tonight?
Yeah.
Or any questions from the section crew? If you have some, get them into the chat.
Give away pecans. Yeah.
Yeah,
That's gonna be. Why do I feel like that's gonna become a thing now? So, myself personally, I just want to show one thing here, quick. Is
why don't you go ahead?
If I may, let me just make sure I don't have anything. Let's see here. I'll go to this, and I just want to get down here to a handful of. Where the heck are my photos here? All right, I just want to go down and do better yet.
So
if you got right here, there we go.
You got her.
All right. Yeah, I got her. Sorry. All right. Let's see here. Do I go to here? Oh yeah, I go right there. All right. This is the current view of the Farland terminal as we. For those that are not part of my Facebook group, you see all this stuff off to the right? This path? You see this path right here? I have this path right here, and then I step over this, and I can go to the right, and I can get back up the steps. This all has to get cleaned up yet. Behind me, all of this underneath here has to get cleaned up yet. But at the same time, I'm doing a little cleaning. I'm building some more layout. This is section 6 here that's not designed yet. But I've been using portions of the brackets for the old layout, and you can see the remnants of what's left here. There's an 11-foot section that needs to come out yet. And then the layout itself is going in pieces. Each one of these is basically its own module. So if you look here, you can see on the wall I have each section's design laid out on the wall, so that way I know what I can draw right on this piece of paper, ideas, thoughts. I don't have to do it on the layout itself. I can put any kind of, like if I want to put, like here, I'm going to have, matter of fact, when we get done here, I have to go and write down that I want a crossing circuit right here. And then, so that's going to be that. I'm going to I have one of Iowa Scale Engineering squealers here, things like that. So I can map out on the railroad itself. And sometimes that's all I'll do is I'll come down here and look at this and say, ooh, I've got an idea, and I'll write that idea down. And then I'll go and clean something and then I'll come up with another idea. So, it's doing little things eventually creates a much broader picture, so to speak. Small brush strokes creates the Mona Lisa. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah, that's some really nice progress. And just so everyone knows, in the show notes this evening, I did put our respective Model Railroads Facebook group. So if we're not posting out on the Second Section podcast Facebook group, make sure you check those areas out too, so that way you can keep up with what's going on in our modeling lives as well as our podcast lives here on Second Section. So we got a couple administrative notes before we tie down for tonight. We're starting to update our Second Section podcast.com website. On the website, on the home page, as you land and you scroll down, there will be a schedule of our shows and show times. So there is a calendar out there that we have on there. It's linked to Mike and I's Google Calendar. So you should be able to go out there and get the latest information on when we're doing shows. Our next show is actually, it's not the Boomer Show. I was fibbing to y'all. It's actually November 2nd. We're going to be doing a brew with the crew. So I know that we've had a couple people ask to come on that Saturday night. we're all going to get together, have a good time, talk some trains, maybe have a drink or two, and let's see if we can't give away some stuff to our get us inspired in model railroading. And then right on the heels of Brew with the Crew, November 7th, we have friend of the podcast, Boomer from Boomer Dioramas, on his YouTube channel, going to be here talking about the progress on his model railroad, River Road. So we're all looking forward to that. So, so that's what we're going to be at. Mike, did you have any final thoughts here before we tie down?
Just take things one step at a time, guys. That's all there is to it. Just don't, that's one tie at a time. That's exactly it. And weed through all the noise. Listen to your heart as to what you want to do, and go for it. And
Right.
nothing was done overnight. So
That's true.
don't get discouraged. It's okay to take a step back and come back to things, or move on to something else. It's perfectly fine. You don't have to do everything at this one time, So that's it. That's all I got.
All right. So I think those are some really good parting comments to make, just real easy stuff for all of us to follow as we start to get back into model railroading. So I want to thank the section crew tonight. It was jamming in the chat. We were up to about 145 people along live with us. We got 110 here right to the very, very bitter end. We do appreciate you all hanging out with us this evening. And if you want to continue the party, check our Facebook group out, Second Section Podcast on Facebook. Just make sure you answer the member question so I can let you in, let you know who you are, and join a great community there. So from Mike, myself, and thank you all in the section crew, we'll see you in about 8 days. Have a good night, everyone.
Night, guys.